Hi, I'm Adam Drake from Mugen Seiki Racing. Today I'm going to show you a closer look at Mugen's pin replacement tool. I've done a video on this in the past, but I want to do a little bit closer look to where you can actually see the tool being used and how simple and easy it is to replace the pins in any drive shaft for your 8-scale vehicle. So here we have the pin removal tool from Mugen Seiki, and I'm going to go ahead and just show you, just to give a little bit of a closer look, how I use the tool to replace the pins for my center drive shafts. And then this is the same process that you would use for the drive shafts going to your front and rear diff. The only difference will be the length of the pin you use. So for all the center drive shafts, whether it's a universal or a dog bone, you're going to use the C0270 pin, and that's a 3 by 12.8 millimeter pin. For the drive shafts going to the wheels, you're going to use C0271, which is a 3 millimeter by 13.8 millimeter pin. So just a slightly longer pin. Now, with the tool, it comes with another piece that is used to kind of break the pin, the old pin, free. I don't actually use that piece. I actually use the new pin to push and drive the old pin out of the drive shaft. Now, when doing it that way, you do have to be a little bit careful and make sure the new and the old pins both line up perfectly. If that pin's at a little bit of an angle and you go to drive it in, it can break the tool. So take your time, make sure that you line the pins. I'll show you a little bit closer look at that here in a second. One other thing though, why would you want to replace your center drive shaft or your drive shaft pins going to the front and rear diff? What happens is this pin gets flat spotted, and as it gets flat spotted, there's more surface area or more contact patch between the pin and the out drive. As there's more contact patch, you have more friction. So over time, you'll want to replace these pins to keep the drivetrain, everything operating smooth and free. And by having new pins, it's also going to help increase the life of your out drives. With the drive shafts in the center, you can replace the pins all the time, and there isn't really much of like a break-in process. For the drive shafts or the pins for the front and rear of the vehicle, those do have a little bit of a break-in process. So if you are going to put new pins in, you'll want to make sure you have a little bit of practice time to at least get maybe 2 or 3 tanks on the vehicle just to kind of break and seat those pins in a little bit. Otherwise, the car is going to feel really soft and kind of roll a lot from side to side. Also squat a lot under acceleration. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you go ahead and put the new pins in is you're going to want to set this collar. Now, it's not super important. It makes it a little bit quicker and convenient if you set this collar when you're doing multiple drive shafts, to where this collar helps give it a stopping point as you're pressing the old pin out. So what I like to do is take and run the shaft all the way in to where it bottoms out, then turn this nut to where it bottoms out, and then you can tighten the set screw down. That's as long as this pin is in the center, it should, when you press the new pin in, bottom out to where the pin is actually also at the center. So from there, go ahead and remove this. Take one of the new pins, and now this is where I was wanting to show you the critical part and alignment. So this drive shaft is really, really old. As you can see, there's not much contact patch. That old pin is super, super thin. So if you were to try to push this new pin into that old pin, it's most likely going to break that pin, or it's going to end up breaking the tool. So if you have a drive shaft where the pin is worn that substantial, I would say it's just time for a new drive shaft. So now I'm going to take a different drive shaft that has a worn pin, but not worn to the point to where it can't be used. But if you look down there, you just want to make sure that the old and the new pin are aligned to where it doesn't break the tool. From there, you'll just take your ratchet. I use an aftermarket ratchet just because it has a little bit more leverage and is a little bit more durable. And you'll just basically thread this in. The new pin will continue to thread in and push the old pin out. And you just tighten that down until it's snug to where it hits our stopping point. The old pin just falls out. And you have brand new drive shaft pin. Now, if the pin is offset or not perfectly aligned, you can put it back in and you'll just make small adjustments until you get it perfectly aligned. Also, if you have this setting and then you go to use a 13.8 pin, this setting is going to have to be adjusted just slightly. But it's as easy as that to use the drive shaft pin tool from Mugen Seiki Racing.